In another timeline, history did not unfold the way we remember it today. In that world, Germany did not lose the war. Germany won everything instead. The balance of power shifted, and the future of humanity changed forever. Cities that once symbolized freedom now stood under absolute authoritarian control and fear. Millions of people woke up in a world that felt unfamiliar and dangerous. This was not just a military victory. It was the birth of a new order. An order built on power, control, and the complete destruction of resistance everywhere. But everything began with one moment that changed history forever. June 22, 1941. Operation Barbarossa begins without warning. Millions of soldiers move forward into Soviet territory with unstoppable force and speed. Tanks roll across endless plains, crushing everything standing in their path. The invasion progresses faster than anyone in the world expected or imagined possible. Soviet defenses struggle to respond to the overwhelming German military advance. Entire divisions collapse as communication and coordination begin to fail rapidly. The road to Moscow slowly opens before the advancing German forces. German tanks continue forward without stopping, moving closer to the Soviet capital. The Soviet army tries to regroup, but the damage is already irreversible. German air superiority makes resistance even more difficult and dangerous. Bombers strike critical infrastructure, destroying supply lines and communication networks everywhere. Factories burn as explosions echo across the frozen battlefield. The Soviet defense weakens with each passing hour and each lost position. German forces approach Moscow faster than anyone believed possible. Panic spreads among civilians as evacuation becomes impossible. Government control begins to collapse under immense military pressure. The fall of Moscow becomes inevitable as German forces surround the city. German soldiers enter the city that once symbolized Soviet strength and power. The Soviet Union begins to collapse without its political and logistical center. Command structures fail, and organized resistance disappears rapidly. German victory in the east becomes complete and undeniable. Germany now controls vast territory, resources, and millions of people. Over 3 million soldiers move into Soviet territory. Thousands of tanks roll across endless plains. The German army advances faster than anyone expected. In real history, winter stopped them. But in this timeline, winter comes too late. German forces reach Moscow before the Soviet defenses can fully prepare. The city falls. The political and logistical heart of the Soviet Union collapses. Chaos spreads across the country. Command structures fail. Supply lines break. Millions of soldiers lose coordination. Without Moscow, the Soviet Union begins to die. Stalin either flees deep into Siberia or is captured. By 1943, organized Soviet resistance no longer exists. The Soviet Union is gone. Germany now controls the largest landmass on Earth, and with it, unlimited resources: oil, steel, industry, manpower. Germany is no longer just a powerful nation. It is becoming unstoppable. With the East secured, Germany shifts focus toward Great Britain. Britain now stands alone without support from the Soviet Union. German jet fighters dominate the skies with unmatched speed and power. British defenses struggle against this new generation of advanced aircraft. Bombs fall across London, destroying buildings and infrastructure below. Smoke rises into the sky as fires consume entire city blocks. Fear spreads across the population as hope begins to fade. Germany launches a full invasion of the British mainland. German troops land on British soil, facing weakened resistance. British forces cannot stop the overwhelming invasion force. German tanks roll through the streets of London. A foreign flag now flies above Big Ben, symbolizing total domination. The streets remain empty, as fear replaces the energy of everyday life. People walk in silence, avoiding attention and watching every movement carefully. London stands silent under dark skies, no longer the city it once was. Fear is visible in every face across the occupied city. The British government collapses under military pressure. The British Empire ceases to exist as an independent power. Europe now belongs entirely to Germany. A new global superpower has emerged from the ashes of war. America stands alone. Now only one major power remains, the United States. But America is isolated. Without Britain and the Soviet Union, America has no foothold in Europe, no staging ground, no nearby allies. Meanwhile, Germany grows stronger every day. German scientists accelerate development of advanced weapons, long-range bombers, advanced submarines, and most importantly, rockets. The V-2 rocket was only the beginning. Soon, Germany develops rockets capable of crossing the Atlantic Ocean. For the first time in history, the American mainland is vulnerable. New York, Washington, Chicago, no longer safe. Fear spreads across the United States. The balance of power has changed forever. Eventually, the world divides into two superpowers, Germany and the United States. A new Cold War begins. Both sides develop nuclear weapons. Both sides compete in technology. Espionage becomes common. Spies operate in the shadows. Each side prepares for the possibility of total war. Humanity lives under constant tension. One mistake, one miscalculation, could end everything. Germany was already years ahead in some technologies. Jet aircraft, rocket science, advanced weapons. Without defeat, German science accelerates even faster. Space exploration begins earlier. The first satellite is launched by Germany. The first human in space is German. The first moon landing belongs to Germany. Berlin becomes the technological capital of the world. Not Silicon Valley, not Houston, Berlin. German engineers develop advanced computers. Jet travel becomes common earlier. Global transportation evolves faster. On the surface, the world appears advanced, modern, efficient, but beneath it lies something darker. Now imagine you are an ordinary person living in this reality. Everything is controlled. Education teaches only what the state allows. Media shows only approved information. Surveillance is everywhere. Freedom of speech does not exist. People are careful with their words, careful with their thoughts, because any form of resistance is dangerous. Some people accept this world. Others live in quiet fear, and some secretly resist. Small underground groups begin forming. Hidden movements, silent opposition, waiting, hoping for change. Even culture would be different. The internet, if it existed, would likely be heavily controlled. Information would be filtered. Entertainment would serve propaganda. Movies, music, education, all shaped by state influence. Innovation would still exist, but freedom would not. The world would be more technologically advanced, but less free, and future generations would grow up knowing only this reality, never realizing how different things could have been. But history teaches us something important. No empire lasts forever. Power eventually fades. Resistance always finds a way. Change becomes inevitable. Even the strongest regimes fall. Nothing is permanent. History continues moving forward. The future remains unwritten. Everything could have been different. This world could have been ours. A world without freedom. A world under absolute control. A world shaped by victory. A world shaped by war. A world shaped by power. But that is not our world. History chose another path, and everything changed. Forever. But the question remains, what if Germany won World War II? What would your life look like? Would you even know freedom? Or would it just be forgotten? Lost in another timeline, lost in another world, a darker world, a different world, a world that almost existed. In our reality, Germany lost World War II, and that loss shaped the modern world. It allowed different nations to rise, different ideas to spread, different freedoms to exist. But history is fragile. Just a few different outcomes, a few different decisions, and everything could have changed.